I used to work in a slaughterhouse, cutting meat and butchering, and we closed the slaughterhouse. And I had a first cousin that was in the forest industry, and I hired on with a logger driving trucks. I drove a log truck for him. Back in that time, you just went and got a chauffeur's license, and they just put you in a truck and you learned how to drive it and you hauled logs. That's how it was back then. And which I was back in the 88 or 87?
88.
In 88. And I worked for that gentleman for 2 or 3 years, and then he went out of business. He was an older guy, and he sold his business, and I hired on with a local logger from Livingston. I worked for him for 2 or 3 years, drove a truck for him for a little while, and then started running his logging job. Then I went to work for my first cousin, running a logging job for him. Worked for him for, I don't know, probably 10 years. And God led me to go to work at the John Deere place in Baton Rouge. Always wondered why, but anyhow, I went to worked there about 2 years, and got a lot of knowledge in working on equipment, mostly working on logging equipment. So I came back into the logging business and working for my cousin, and decided I wanted to go in business for myself. So he and I kind of went in business together, as I was the president of the company and he is a secretary, kind of just to help me get started. And we started that in 2005. Looking back, wondering why I went to work for the John Deere place, now I know that because getting knowledge to working on my own equipment. I bought Malcolm out in when was it?
2010.
2010, and we've been working right on since then. And
He's been logging for 30 years, so even if I wasn't involved in his job, I was involved in it in certain ways. For the longest time, I had worked at the church, and then in 2010 felt like that God did something in our life, and I was supposed to resign at the church and come aboard with the company and be at his beck and call. I do all the payroll, the accounts receivable, payable, do a lot of safety stuff, business plan, and I guess support for Pop and the boys.
Chip and Cheyenne worked for me when I worked with Malcolm, and then when we transitioned the job, they went on to work. Trappers was going to college and working part-time, and then when he got out of college, he decided he wanted to be full-time, and he come aboard too. So that's basically how we started the company. In the process of going to a new tract of timber, our forester, we work for Weyerhaeuser. When we finish in a tract, I call him in advance, 3 or 4 days or 5 days, let him know we're getting close. And then he may call me 2 days before we're finishing and tell me, hey, this is where your next tract's at. He sends me a map that I can download it on my phone, and we download it on the iPad. And a lot of times we'll go find the tract, look at it, see what kind of conditions we're going to be up against, maybe roads, light lines, power lines, or any safety issues that we might have. We'd move all our equipment. As we finish, we would have the iPad, we move the cutters first. See, the cutter may move 2 days in advance, and he'll be cutting, getting everything, the ramps cut out, start cutting timber. And then when the processor gets through processing wood, we immediately load it up and move it
to the new track,
to the new set. And then he just starts, he starts the process of decking wood, getting it ready to be hauled. The cutter goes in and he sometimes cuts multiple stems. He may cut 2-3 trees at a time. And the way the cutter is built, it can pack the trees. He may lay 3 trees down, and he go over and cut 2 or 3 more and lay them on with them trees. And we call that a drag. And that's what he does on the whole stand, is he makes piles, you might as well say, but we call it drags. And the skidder comes to the woods and grabs that drag and brings it to the processor. It's it's a system that they got, Trampets, and with the skidders, when they drag in, they generally always have a drag laying at the processor all the time. When they come in one time, they drag on one side. He's picking that wood up as he's running it through the processor, stripping all the limbs off and determine what he's going to cut out of that tree. Because the butt size of the trees determines where it goes. They may tell us to send 16-inch stuff grader to Macomb, that'll be a log mill, and 16 to 9 inches to Holden, to a stud mill. And everything else becomes pulpwood, goes for the paper mills. And then, as he's processing that one side, the skidder comes in, drags on the opposite side. Then that way it's always room for the skidders to keep wood at the deck all the time. That he's always processing one side or the other. And then as he's processing wood, he's laying it out, either logs on one side, then the chipping saw on the opposite side, and the pulpwood be kind of in the middle. And the loaders, can just load on a truck as it tracks up and down the side of the road and loads out of the pile. The trucks are scheduled, they schedule throughout all the day. It'll be maybe, we'll order 20 to 22, 24 loads a day. And they schedule what they want put on the truck. And you may load a load of pulpwood, and then you might, 15 minutes later, a truck comes in, you might track down and load a load of chipping saw. And as you load in that truck, it might be another truck come in where you just track up and load logs. Whatever they schedule to get, that's what we put on. And a lot of times the way the trucks fall out, you generally, sometimes it might be 3 show up at the same time. But typically it don't take us about 10 minutes to load a truck. When he pulls on a loader, 10 minutes, he's leaving a loader. Pulls down the road, gets trimmed up, and then leaves. We make our tickets through a loader whiz. They have it set up on our iPad, or some of them on their phone, but we have an iPad. We have a guy that we call him the quality control guy. He does all the tickets, checks our loads, makes sure they trimmed and things are right. He goes through and selects where the load's going. If he's got logs or chipping saw, he just hits the button, and we got a little printer that prints the ticket, and he gives to the truck driver where the destination that he's going.
And then Mr. Ed trims up the truck, and the truck binds down, and then they're on their way. I think for a person that likes to work, that has a strong work ethic, that loves the outdoors and don't feel like they could work in an office environment, just loves, being outdoors, that this would be a great occupation for them.
It's like the boys were talking earlier that, they're their own boss. Trampets is running a processor, and he knows, his job, and Cheyenne or Chip or the guy that's running the skidder, they know the job that they got to do. Nobody really don't need to tell them anything. You're outside, you're in, the environment fresh air. And now the way things are, the safety part of it is you're in a machine all day, air conditioning, radios, and, the comfort of the machines. And
it's not logging like it was when I started 20 years ago, but even when Pop started, that's, it's nothing like that, it's totally different. And people will realize that. There's people come out, I know, that pass by, like, man, look at all this equipment. Like, it's think the early 90s or 80s. There's nobody on the ground working, you ain't sweating, nothing like it used to be. And that's what people still think is, you're out there with chainsaws all day, and they're like, man, that's killer. Like, it ain't that bad.
I like the mornings. Like I love because we always start when it's dark, we start really early, and you get to see the sun come up every day. My machine is just big old box with windows on it, so you get to see, every morning you get to see the sun come up.
As far as time-wise, it's not like a crazy amount of hours that we have to work. I mean, we still have plenty of time in the evenings, weekends, Saturdays, still to enjoy what we want to do,
Like freedom. You ain't in a box like an office box. You're in a machine, but you still got, you can step out and get a good fresh air. It's totally different than working in a plant or an office. It's kind of to yourself.
I think, anybody that grew up on a farm or anybody that just loves being outside, you're outside all the time. And you like to, tear stuff up. Yeah, I love tearing stuff up.
I would say that our company, Sibley Logging, Inc., would not be what it is today. Granted, of course, without God, but without those boys, he and I could have never accomplished where we're at today without those boys.
That's right. Working with your family it is a joy. I guess the biggest joy I get is seeing the boys. Take ownership of the company. It's kind of weird. I don't have to tell nobody nothing to do because, they know what's got to be done, and they do it, or they see that it gets done.
As far as us, most families probably can't see it, but I work with a lot of different guys that make you not want to get up in the mornings, but get up and come to work with them too is because we think alike.
Well, yeah, because we can.
The biggest thing with us.
If any one of us is working beside each other, we can pretty much kind of know what they're going to do ahead of what we're going to do. So it's just that's one of the benefits of us three.
Regardless of what we're like, if I'm on the skidder and Chip's on the cutter, or Chip's on the loader, or Tremper's on the skidder.
Right.
Vice versa, whether we're running, like we all pretty much kind of run it the same, but we all have that same mind frame of what, how we do things and why we do it that way. It's funny because there's so many people that come out there and say, there's no way I can work with my family. And it's just like, that blows my mind.
Right. Because they're like, what?
There's no way I can do this and work with a bunch of other people.
That's the first question I would ask. Y'all fighting? Like, we never fought each other. Never. You get mad, aggravated, but you walk off, kind of let it go, and
just trees.
It's not worth fighting.
Exactly.
Another thing I love is to see how people love them. When I go to the woods and I have interaction with other people that are associated with our job, or even just that own their own companies, I always hear great things about my men folk, as I call them.
We work, it's a godly environment, and we want to honor God in everything that we do, that people can see Jesus Christ through us. And when people come on our job, they know that is something different. They know, and they ask, what's so different about your job? Why is it like this? And I said, well, one thing, we're, godly people, we try to live on God's terms.
They come out on a job and they talk to us, they know, they ain't no cussing, carrying on, they're like, man, y'all a bunch of good group of guys, you tell them, hey, we're here to serve God, and you tell people that. Well, I don't know how many people we've, over the years, has, probably changed in some ways, but they also come, when they come on your job, they do have respect too, you know,
Yeah.
because they do see it and how we act, you know.
I think all of us, the boys and us, would all agree that, you know, we're loggers, but there's something far greater in our life that we're working for. Mm-hmm. And if we couldn't use our logging company to proclaim, you know, the love of Christ, then what would we be there for? God's blessed us, and so therefore He expects us to bless people, and so that's kind of how we function. God has opened many doors for us to witness right out in the middle of the woods, you know, to talk about Christ in many areas that Christ would not be talked about in the logging industry.
Yeah, I've had people, you know, come to us and ask, you know, that we pray for them, you know, knowing that we're Christian people, that they know God, you know, is powerful. God can heal, and we've had people ask advice.
I think all of us would say we feel like that each day is a gift that God's given us, and we're going to use that to the best of our ability to serve Him. You know, it's like we have business associates through Weyerhaeuser that are officed in Arkansas, North Louisiana, Brookhaven, like a lot of different places. And so, you know, we're in contact with them. A lot of them are women, and, you know, anything from like just writing out a little card to them and saying, hey, I'm praying for you today, you know, has been, I have been surprised at how that touches somebody, and said, you how could you know that I needed that today, you know? And so just being intentional with what we do, you know, I pray that it makes a difference, you know, for the kingdom.
And that's what we was like joking just a while ago. Like when we grew up back here, we I don't know how young we were, but we push trees down for fun, like riding trees. We shake them until they fall down, and then we take on the challenge of cutting up a big tree, like to get it just to fall down. So it was just like we're joking, like we're destined to do it. That's what we grew up doing it, not knowing that, you know, we'd do it one day when we got older. So
at our age now, you know, there's a new generation of Sibleys, you know, our boys, and then there's another generation behind them. And so we hope that we've laid a strong foundation so that you know, in years to come, there'll be, in generations to come, there'll be Sibleys that are logging. Mm-hmm. And hopefully because their grandfather and grandmother have helped to establish a good foundation for them. I think that would be great to see too.
I had to
he
be
said,
alone.
you want to go to work? I said, I guess so.
No, asked you to go to work.
Yeah.
They was, I'm going back to bed.
Nope.
I had an option, and Cheyenne always took the.
Yeah, you gave me an option to choose what I wanted. Choose what I wanted. You tell me to get up, I would get up. So don't come ask me if you want to go to work. I say no. Truck drivers.
Working with family. Terrible idea. Anybody don't
Truck drivers, man. Truck drivers. Sure.
Yeah,
Truth is, they have to pay me to come.
I dread it every day. Plus, we don't get paid. You know.
It's,
You know, cutting the tree. We enjoy
Yeah,
that.
everything will be remote control.
we have laptops sitting at home in a recliner, like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Watching Netflix. Oh, wait, you don't keep going right here. Let me get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, you can joke with each other, but we ain't supposed to joke on the job. Supposed to be serious. A lot of time new employees, when they first come out there.
There's a lot of people that come out there that are like spooky of the woods, because you know, we start at 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30, and it's dark, and then it's literally out in the middle of nowhere, just you and the stars. So you can have a lot of fun with people. Just
We find out they spooky and scared.
yeah, they got all kind of apps on your phone.
They can fit and get scared.
Different animal noises. And
You gotta do snake pranks,
Or picking up
just
snakes.
whatever,
and-
hiding in the bushes, and we always, especially in you guys, you know, we're
Take
gonna,
your vest off and sneak around the woods like you're some kind of animal.
we find out you scary or spooky, we're gonna scare you.
Yeah.
That's Cheyenne.
That's
just
my
normal.
natural voice. He's on our
You don't just talk, you just mumble.
Get all excited, man.
Right, what?
If he talks about chicken, he's gonna do something with chicken. There's gonna be a bok in it or something.
Yeah.
That or you get to be playing with his radio, turn on the echo too much.
Yeah. Yeah, they got like
Or-
your CB radio. You can, I don't know, like I guess it's a better one. I don't know if that's what you say. Chip would know more about it, but you get talking to it and then give it a few seconds and it'll keep repeating, but it repeats real slow. So you could say like, tell a truck driver, come on in, and then after you get done, come on in, come on in, come on.
Keep on doing
And
it.
it'll keep on doing it as long as you don't
Cheyenne
play.
does it in a weird voice.
Yeah.
As far as like funny things we've done, I don't know.
There's like we used to always throw mud at Pop's truck.
Yeah.
Like when he was driving, he had a white truck. So when he got like if it rained or what, if he was leaving, we'd throw mud at him. It's funny.
He didn't like it.
Yeah.
He don't like to play.
Yeah. Or we used to.
It's serious.
We used to. It was really dumb, but like we throw mud because the old loaders you could open and slide in the window. So when they'd be loading the truck and they swing around, and we would throw and
Trying to
see
see
if
if
you could get it in the window.
I have done it a few times.
While they're loading the truck. So just you could throw a rock accidentally and
Yeah, the windows are glass.
hit the window. Voice the reason.
Are they filling up and you throwing dirt? And
Yeah, get dirt in the fuel
Oh
tank.
yeah. Get
Or
there.
sand.
Man, they just have times where we'll joke and just get laugh, loosen up, instead of being serious all the time.
Yeah.
I always do my what's that? The thing off Star Wars? I don't know what them guys are.
Ewoks.
The Ewok, the Raiders. Every time I get a pole saw and trim a truck off, I do it. Every time. So you ever see me walking down the road with the saw on my head?
That's what you're doing.
Oh, and they gotta be able to grow a beard.
Have to have a
You
beard.
gotta have a big.
Facial hair.
If you can't grow facial hair, you ain't,
Sorry,
can't work.